is, and like I said, there's nothing wrong, and I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm sorry. At first, one, if that's all you're posting, everyone's doing the same thing. I don't believe that you're going to get a client just because you've sold so many houses or listed so many houses. I believe, Aaron, I'm so sorry. I believe is what that's saying is that, you know what? I'm doing more business than every other agent that's watching me. And so I'm throwing that out there. Now, I could be completely wrong. I'm not an agent. I'm just one that, I'm not saying don't do it. But one, if you're going to do it, get creative with it and do something that other people aren't doing so that they're watching. I follow a ton of agents. I don't even give any consideration to something that says, I don't give any consideration that is a picture with in a title company that says just closed. And the reason is because every single person's doing it. Why do you want to be the same as everyone else? Be different, create that character so that you are going to be unique, because that's what is going to, go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I know nothing about social media, literally don't have anything. But don't you want to create something that's going to make people want to come back for more? Like a top 10 list of some kind, or like
That's your character.
or the next whatever.
Correct. I'll go back into, I'm gonna go back into that. But yes, you are correct. But what's gonna make you follow someone? Or what's going to click your interest?
Telling me to scan your card. Sorry.
Correct.
Yeah, he's like, scan the card. Like, I scanned it.
All right, who scanned that card?
We all
Did,
scanned
all
it.
right. Did everyone follow that account?
Yeah.
All right, everyone that followed that account, we will follow you guys back. The reason that I'm gonna go back. I'm sorry, I'm jumping just a little. The reason that I have that QR code on my card is for one reason. It's because an agent that I go into, that I see coming out of a house, that I'm going to shoot the house, I ask every agent who shoots your stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Here's my information. It's on the back, scan it and throw the card away. Because people don't want safe cards. They're not going to lose my information. I've done that to probably 50 agents. And I've had probably 5 agents that call me back from it. So if I'm going to take 30 seconds when an agent is walking, or I see an R on their license plate and they're getting in a car, and I give them a card and just say who shoots their stuff, and I've done 50 and I've got 5. I mean, and then they're shooting 10 a year. I'm shooting 10 a year. That's definitely my door knocking for me, because they're watching my stuff. And how many people also say, or to me, hey, I want to see your stuff. Yeah, I have my website, but you know what? They can see it right there. They don't need to ask, because if they're following me, it's moving and I'm in front of their face. And so doing these little things helps in the long run. It really does. That's why I continue to say this is knocking doors, but I believe that it's knocking doors and they're not going to lose your stuff.
I want to add something to that as well. If you don't have a social media, or if it's like you don't have a big following, it does seem like tedious and like maybe overwhelming in the beginning, but it does, just once you create those followers, you know, people keep coming back. So don't get overwhelmed in the beginning about it.
And don't get caught up in how many people are following you and how many people are liking your stuff and moving. If you are active, it is going to grow. I promise you, if you're active, it's going to grow. Is what hurts you is when you're not consistent. And I'm not consistent. And so for me to, when I'm consistent, for me to hit 2,000 views in an hour to 2 hours, I actually feel like that's not anything special, but it's average. But I haven't been consistent. And so I'm actually shocked that it went that high, because I haven't been consistent.
But I think too,
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. To you, what is consistency? Do you break up the amount of reels that you're doing and posts? Like, do you do
Yes, I'm so glad. I'm gonna answer that right after this, because I want, I'm gonna go over that. It's down here, but I'm gonna go over it. What?
I was gonna ask that exact. same
Okay,
question.
what were you gonna say? Sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for cutting her off.
No, it's fine.
Um,
What I was gonna say is go back to the States, like, we have some reels, a reel that in the beginning, it didn't do very well. And over time, I would just check it.
Yeah,
and
it's
it made it
like
to
11,000
10,000.
views, yeah.
So another thing too, like with the reels especially, you want it to be short and sweet, then they'll keep watching it, and then that triggers the algorithm. And then more people will see it. So I know you said the views isn't important, but.
So yeah, short and sweet, and I really have that. All right, so my coach is putting together, because I got ripped apart yesterday. These guys were there, and I'm like, I'm gonna get ripped apart. And she's like, you're not consistent. You're not consistent. Why are you? I mean, she's like, why are you paying me? And I'm like, because this is changing nonstop, and I need to know the new stuff, because when I come in, I want to give you guys what's working and what's not. And so she's creating a calendar for me, and I'll have it next week. And maybe when I come back, I can share it with you guys. So the calendar is going to be, there's a bunch of stuff where I'll be able to save what music, I'll be able to save what everything. So does anyone know what a carousel is? All right, so a carousel is at least 2 pictures, but really you want 3 pictures. You can only post. That someone watching your reels, or someone watching your posts when you're not posting your reels, if you have one picture, they're scrolling. They're scrolling as they're looking at that picture, and it's not doing anything. If you guys are going to post a closing, or just sold, or just listed, post a carousel of it, because what that does is people are going to then start swiping. Then they're on your account longer. The longer people are on your account, there goes your algorithm. And so the whole goal is to click that algorithm. And so you want to post every day, really. And if you can't, then create something that is routine and post 4 times a day. Also, huh?
4 times a week or?
Yeah, 4 times a week. Not 4 times. Yeah,
Okay.
4 times a week.
We're
No.
all like, okay.
So actually, I was told yesterday that if you actually post a lot, it's the same thing as spamming. People are you're not going to have any credibility, and they're just going to scroll through. How many do you guys do stories? All right, stories are very, very important. Very important, because a story, you don't have to put a lot of time and effort. You can be walking into a house and be like, hey, I'm just checking this house out. I'm showing this house to my clients or whatever. You can post a story and make it simple, raw. You don't have to go back through it. It's going to disappear. But you're active on social media. And so whether you're scrolling or not, just try to be active. And a story can seriously be anything. And so maybe I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this at all. I'm not saying no one's done it. If you're closing something, instead of throwing a picture or something out, create a story, and be like, you guys, this is why I'm in this. This is why I do this job, because to make these people's dreams come true, this is why I do this job. Create something where people know that you are so into your job and you love it. That's going to trigger in their mind that, oh, you know what? That's an agent that I want to use. They love helping people out. Go ahead.
Well, a lot of times, there's a quote, I don't remember who says it, I don't remember exactly how it goes. Paraphrasing, it is basically like, people don't remember what you say, people remember how they felt when you said it.
Correct.
So if you can create an emotion with a picture or a story or a reel or a carousel or bumblebee or a spider or whatever you guys call them, it's gonna draw more people in, because they're gonna make an emotional connection with you and with your page, and it becomes less of a faceless.
Correct.
thing.
For someone that doesn't do social media, you sure know a lot.
And just adding to that, tagging your client if they're on social media, so then they go and share it. and then they say, wow, that agent helped these people out and they're amazing, great. I wanna use this guy.
Correct,
Give me his contact.
correct. Go ahead.
Another question though, so,
Yes.
okay, so let's say I'm an emotional human being, I'm very, very emotional. I am not super businesslike, but there are personalities that don't connect with you if you're very emotional on social media. So would you assume that maybe you want to scatter your posts with different types of personalities based on who's looking?
No, because that's not your niche. That's not you have to create that. We all know that there's some agents in your office that hate me. They don't dislike me, they hate me.
Raise your hand and pay that.
No, I'm serious. There's people in here that will not use me no matter what. I have somehow we butted heads, or somehow they just don't like my personality, or 10 years ago, I could have been late to something. I mean, we all grow and get better and better. And it took me a long time to get to where I'm at. And I went through a lot of trials and a lot of growing pains and I was shooting 20 homes a day because I wouldn't say no. They were like, I need it this day. Aaron, how many times have I been late to your house?
Always.
3 or 4 years.
Been a long-
Exactly.
been a long-
No,
been a
not
long
always.
time. Been a
But-
long time.
There was a long time. I mean, Aaron, I'm gonna use Aaron as an example.
But,
And I love it. I've never.
But you never left me.
no, but I would always tell
You
my
really
clients,
wanna
he's
move.
gonna be there between 1 and 3, but it'll probably be 3:30, just so you know. And they're always like, okay, appreciate it. I said, he's just busy, gets behind, but he'll be in and out there
Best.
in 15 minutes.
Correct. So I've also had people, let's Jessica Terry, for instance. She's left me, came back, left again, and came back, and I don't believe she'll leave again. And the reason is because I've grown. One, we're on top of it now. And it took her a long time to understand this industry. It took her a long time. She's almost quit a few times, some because of me, but some because agents have ripped her. Some because agents have ripped her apart. And so like that, you need to, that's why that some people, you guys have been in the industry. How many times have you, your first closing? Do you guys remember your first closing?
Oh my God.
All right, I'm gonna tell you a story that doesn't matter. My first closing with mortgages, my very first closing. I closed my best friend's house. I did a refi. I was so excited. Guess what I told him? I'm like, don't pay your house payment. You can save that money because it will close and fund.
It didn't.
It didn't.
Stop. Oh.
We all learned, yeah, his credit was perfect. Bam, late. I'm like, no, you don't need to pay. It's all right. You'll be fine. I didn't know what I was doing. That's just like everything. You're not going to know what you're doing social media wise. You're going to get better and better and better. I can honestly sit up here and say, you guys, from the business thing, because I believe that Aaron has had me shoot his stuff, been frustrated way back and been like, you know what, he's been late or pissed my client off because he was late or something. And then I still shoot Aaron's stuff. But that's going to happen with social. Everyone's not going to like you.
Impossible.
Let's clarify. I really like that.
Correct.
Here's the thing. Yesterday, I was wearing pink, bouncing around like 16-year-old, flirt with Brianna at the transaction desk. Today, I'm wearing all black and I'm kind of more serious. We all have different facets of our personality.
Then create what you want.
I think it would go a long way if you show all of those facets. because
Correct.
humanize
But all
them.
right, so let me tell you what the risk is. Someone might not like you in this person, and this person, and you can have a lot more people not follow you. But if that's the character that you want to create, because another thing that I love is raw. I love being raw. And if you're being raw right now because you're in yoga pants and you're like, if that's how you feel, that's still being raw. And don't hide that person.
So
it's-
can you do both? Can you have a
You
character and
can,
be
but I don't know. I guess it's, correct,
Well,
but
that's why I think like the stories come in, like, yeah, because you are who you are,
Yeah.
right? And everybody has different things going on each day. So if you can showcase those different sides of you on your story, I think that.
no,
is
I
beneficial.
understand is what I'm just saying is I agree with that, but I'm saying that create a character that you know. All right, so are you gonna play on a Reels? Are you gonna play something that has a little language in there one day? Correct, that's who I am too. And so that I wouldn't expect any different from you.
Right.
I wouldn't, and I would be sad if you didn't do that, because I know who you are.
So what you're saying is find your baseline.
Yes.
About your identity and your character, and you can fluctuate based on that baseline.
Correct.
Don't change the baseline.
Correct, is all I'm saying is be careful, this is you to decide. There's no right or wrong. I'm just telling you my advice and what I think. Go ahead.
And you can always change it up. I think there needs to be a fine balance of your character, your professionalism, and then what you do personally too. Because they need to see you in every light. They need to see your personality. It jives along the entire way you're being authentic. I had another question on that. It's just, I don't know if it was asked, I was out of the room for a minute, but some people that actually do not use social media at all, or they're brand new, how do you recommend them getting started in this and start create that following?
Do you want to take
Yeah.
that?
Because there's people in this room that don't use social media.
Right, so obviously to create the account. And then
Tell
and then it's
me.
just, I think because we didn't have it, when, like about a year ago, we started this. And what I did is I just went and followed agents. I looked up just different hashtags for real estate in this area. And I just started following those hashtags, following agents, and then using that hashtag. And then people started following us in that way. I'm happy
Hashtags
to-
are,
if
how
anybody
important are
has any
hashtags
questions.
today?
I'm gonna go over hashtags. Like I'm running low on time, but I'm gonna go over hashtags. I will go over that.
But I'm happy, if anybody has any questions, I am happy to help. If
Go ahead.
they can
Another way
contact
with
me.
that too is that you can sync your contacts to a lot of them, with some people that you know, that's good.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say something about that too. Go ahead.
There also seems to be two schools of thought as to combining business and personal page, so just have it all on one personal page, and occasionally 15 to 20% of the time throw out business stuff. Versus some people say, keep personal and business separate.
That's why you get to choose. I do personal and business on my personal account. We strict only business there. And I'll be completely honest, I'm gonna be more professional on my business account because these agents, I don't know who they are. My personal account, I still have a ton of agents follow me, and some of them I don't know who they are. But at the same time, I'm gonna be raw and be me. And I'm just slowly moving into that because I was under the, like, I didn't want to offend someone. And now I want to be me, and hopefully they can respect me for being me. And so yeah, so the one thing about syncing accounts, yes, you want to sync those accounts. The goal here also is to getting more people that don't know you.
I think that's where the hashtags come in, and that's what I just followed on
Yeah, so-
any agent, I just followed, and they all didn't follow back. But, I mean, eventually they did.
But when you are building your account, is what's so important is to go in other people's accounts. So look up hashtags or whatever. So you can Google or hashtag Sandy, Utah. Like, this is a good way for agents. Google Sandy, Utah. Not Google it, hashtag it. Start clicking on those posts and start commenting. Commenting homes in Sandy, Utah. Some of them are gonna be agents, some of them are people selling, some of them are whatever.
The hashtags?
Yeah, the hash, yeah, you could, so when you're looking for something, a hashtag is like Google. You can put that in your Instagram and find whatever you want to come up. When you start commenting on someone's stuff, just like I did from that lady that I did that post, I wanted to see who she was. I didn't follow her, but someone's going to click on you to see, who is this? I don't know who this is. And if you're following them, they might follow you back.
And I know I keep saying this, but I would highly recommend following hashtags. Just
Yeah. Yeah,
because
I'll,
then you get, more out of that, and then you can, because a lot of other agents, like when I make a post and I use hashtags, I see the agents who follow those hashtags, and then you can know which hashtags are, useful and which aren't.
all right, we have a few minutes, but I at least need 30 seconds of my phone. All right, so with that, I'm so worried on time. we got, so the character, whatever, that's something for you to decide. Do what you feels comfortable with. And so also do what you feel like that I would say, I would follow someone or tell someone to follow someone. The crazier, the more out, like, I would be like, oh my gosh, that person caught my eye. Did you see that? Have you ever followed this person? Have you ever done that? Someone that's going to do something different with real estate, someone that's going to create something different or do something that other people aren't doing. That's when, if I knew someone that was, if I had a friend that, I mean, if someone had a friend, I can't use me because I shoot for so many people, but so if someone had a friend that said, hey, I'm trying to sell my house or buy a house, but I don't have an agent, someone could easily be like, oh my gosh, check this agent out, because this is what they do. You want them to remember you.
I feel like humor is really powerful for the younger crowd.
Everything is a totally different vibe, and it's a totally different, I mean, honestly, they're, the way some agents dress and some don't, that's actually going to affect some crowds and some crowds not. And so where do you go with that? You just have to pick and choose and decide. Let's do hashtags real quick. How many hashtags do you guys throw up?
As many as possible.
Okay, wrong.
Oh.
All right, the number of hashtags he said as many as possible. The number of hashtags you want to throw up is 3 to 8 hashtags. So here's the hard thing. What hashtags do you use? Do you guys know there's over 400,000 banned hashtags? 400,000 banned hashtags. So once you throw that hashtag up, it's still going to be there. But one, they won't be able to search it. So why are you going to do it if someone isn't searching it? Or Instagram will not push that out because it's a banned hashtag. You can Google banned hashtags. And 100% you can do that. I always thought at the beginning, I'm like, you know what? I want to use a hashtag that has 5 million of them, because you can see how many, if you punch in the hashtag, you can see how many hashtags are on there. You guys try to do hashtags that have 1,000 to 2,000, or if you're doing real estate, do hashtags that someone else is going to search. So if you're listing a house in an area, hashtag that area. That is huge. If you're hashtag new listing, but how many areas are doing new listings? Hashtag Utah new listing, or Sandy new listing, or Murray. Get creative with the hashtags. If you go up to 12, yeah, it's not bad. But still, the hashtags, the less, the better. Just like on the times with your reels. She mentioned it. Your reels, you want to be 7. 1, it's 30 seconds. You're going to get more views the lower it is. Everything is quick, so you want more. When I go into a house, just like you said earlier, Heather, that when I go into a house, it's my job to get people into that house. I've got to create a story with my pictures or with my video to get people into the house, because you have to feel what that house is. You need to feel that energy. It's your guys' job to sell the house. So just like you were talking about with the energy, and you feel, you need to have that emotion. So how are you going to create that emotion over social media? This takes a long time, and this is a lot of work. 100% a lot of work. So I'm going to try to do this. I need to get it approved. Maybe Ruby will tell me if I can do this. I will come back and teach a Reels course, which I can do it in an hour. I will show all you guys how to post a Reels. We will put it together. Either I'll give you the content to post. I can grab a house. I don't know. I'll go over this. If any of you guys are interested.
Yeah.
Can you come tomorrow?
Ask her.
We'll find a date that's pretty quick, so
Yeah, we can find a date that's pretty quick, and we can probably do it when it's not a meeting where we can just get this room. it is very beneficial. It's a big deal, and it's a pain in the butt until you start doing it.
Or you
I
can just
think
pay Adam to do it
that's
for
what
you.
they need Is step by step
Yes.
on how to do certain things and
Yeah.
how to play, especially people that don't use social media, the things that are important, the pages to follow. Actually, I don't know if a lot of you follow Salt Lake Florida Realtors, like Canadian Everest, different websites that will give you information, the Chamber of Commerce, like you just need to understand different cities. Follow the cities that you farm, like Sandy City, they have pages, they all have social media pages. You should follow them and post those, follow your lenders pages and post important information.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna do one. This is very important. Give me 10 more minutes. One, if anyone has to leave, that's fine too. One, when you guys post, you guys have to get their attention immediately. You need to have a hook. So is what the hook is you want to ask them something or give them something to comment back. You've got to hook them in to comment back. I always try to post something, and I struggle with this, coming up with something to post to get them, when they look at it, to get them to comment, because that's going to trigger an algorithm. For real estate, this is huge. Everyone wants information on the do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts. You guys, if you guys were gonna post something, I personally, if I was an agent, I would have something every Tuesday, every Thursday. I would call it something and I would post that continuously, and it would be educational, do's or don'ts, because that's going to go. That is really going to go. If you're going to do a picture of what the market's doing, don't just do one picture, create a carousel of it. But people want to know what's going on, whether they're buying or selling, and they're going to remember you. They're 100% going to remember you, and always have that going. Get creative. Everyone loves tips. And I should be doing this to agents, because I go into some homes that I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? You guys are really, you guys, I'll be honest, they're my favorite houses to shoot, because I'm in and out. I'm like, these guys don't care. I'm not moving anything. I'm in and out. And so the tips are very good. Do tips. Hey, when you're selling your house, do this. Spring tips, gardening tips. You guys can come up with so many things to get creative, to have people follow you, and to create these reels. The sounds are so important, but I'll go over all that in when we do reels. So I'm gonna take 2 minutes. I am one of your guys' preferred photographers. If you guys haven't used me, you 100% can. I'm gonna just throw me out. I don't picture count. I do a 2-hour time window. I'm very rarely late. If I am, I communicate. Before I didn't communicate, I was just like, I've learned. No, and I also do a lot of video. Video is huge right now. And I just did a video for these guys yesterday.
And drones.
And drone. I do a lot of video. I do a lot of drone video. I ask every single person where they're moving to when I go in and I see a person. Right now, I'm not saying I'm correct, but this is what I've had over the last 2 weeks. 80% of the people that I go into their homes, they're moving out of state. People are moving out of state, and people are moving into the state. Video is huge for people that are out of state. With that, I actually create a reels. Also, if I'm shooting a house, I do charge $75, but I create your reels for you for that listing. I give it to you guys. You guys have to post, come up with the wording, come up with everything. I just want you guys to understand what I do, what I have to offer. And if I don't work with you guys, I would love to work with you guys. Real quick, anyone have any questions before we get out of here?
I did have just a couple.
Yeah.
On the carousel, you said only do 3 photos,
No,
Or-
do at least 3.
at least 30K. And then on the hashtags, when you're tagging a photo, you look for, you said 1 to 2,000. Because like, when you search them, it's like 30 million or
Correct.
whatever.
Don't
You
even
don't
waste
use
your
the
time.
lower end ones? Or are you-
Yeah, I like the lower end ones.
Yeah.
And the reason I like the lower end ones is because people are going to find that. And
Mhm.
so let's just say that you used a hashtag that had 1 million.
Yeah.
You're gonna be lost. You're not
Gotcha.
like, you just wasted your time with
But
that
I
hashtag.
do think though, if somebody follows that specific hashtag,
Yeah.
it is gonna come up on their feed.
Right.
And they will see it. So like it will say on the top, like you follow this hashtag, this is why you're seeing that photo. So if there is like Utah real estate, I'm sure that has a ton, but if somebody follows that hashtag, it will come up on their.
I
feed.
follow real estate video. There's some hashtags that I follow
Yeah.
because I want to see what people are doing. I want to make sure that I'm continually growing and continually getting better.
Right.
Anything else?
On your stories, do you ever just save those to be a regular post or you just let them?
All right, do you?
Sometimes, but yeah, sometimes.
I actually take my posts that are about real estate. And if she creates a post, I go into me and I put that to my story and then I transfer those back and forth. That way, just because it'll trigger
And
the
if it's
algorithm.
something you wanna save, like on, you can like do like a highlight, but you know, those bubbles, you can save them there. So if it's something you want people, like tips, for example, you can have just like a bubble of tips and save those tips there. If you posted them in your stories, then they can just always be available. Does that help?
What
I did have one more, you know, for sure, if when you save your own reels and your posts and things like that, does it help your algorithm?
It does
Your own
because
page?
some people only watch stories. I'm not a story guy. I
Yeah.
very rarely watch stories.
Yeah.
But some people only watch certain things. And so, yeah, you want to, it doesn't affect you.
Well, are you asking like if it helps get in front of people? Is that?
Yeah, because like if you're on your own page and then you.
Yeah, so like
start
if you
reel and
had
then
a
you save
personal
it.
page, like, you know.
Yeah.
so
I
you-
don't know if you save it. I don't know that question.
Yeah, I think you'd have to save it from like a personal page. So
Okay.
like I save it
Okay.
ours from my personal page. And then we've told our family to
Okay.
save all of it.
I do. I tell, oh, yeah, if you're gonna like someone, like it back. But if someone's going to comment on your stuff, respect their time and comment back. Go ahead.
What about rules, videos, whatever, right? Like, do you concentrate a little bit more like in your business account more than personal, or you always try to do both?
I would, if you're going to do two, I would make sure that your business account is like you are doing it continuously, constantly. And, or whatever, however you plan on doing, just make sure you're staying with that schedule. And so I mean, like I said, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work, you guys. This is not something, if you're gonna commit yourself, go all in. It will be a benefit, and it might not be a benefit for 6 months to a year down the road. But honestly, the agent, and I tried to find that agent before I came, she's really getting minimum 50,000. She gets 100,000 views, but she's raw. She is raw and she throws it out there and yeah, and so it will work. You can continue. It's just getting in front of someone's face and be like, oh, I'm gonna sell and I don't have someone, or my parents are selling. I mean, you wanna be remembered. Go ahead, Heather.
I didn't have a question, I just had a comment. I've used Adam since 2018. I won't use anybody else. Every time I've had to use somebody else because he's been gone or something or he's too busy, it sucks. I've done over $50 million worth of real estate and Adam's the only guy I use. Just putting that out there.
I love you.
And I second that. I actually send your contact to a lot of the agents here.
Thank you, Ruby.
I appreciate it.
If I shoot something for you and it's not what you're thinking, I will always make it right. I definitely, I care. If I'm shooting your stuff, I want your stuff to look good. Just because the better I can do for you, hopefully the more listings you get. And the more listings you get, it helps me.
Can you tell them a little bit about, are you doing drone pictures? Do you do 3D?
Yeah.
Share a little bit about.
Yeah, so I'm not doing any, I don't do the 3D tour, I do a video. The thing that I'm not a huge fan of the 3D, and let me tell you why.
I'm not either.
Is because once you do the 3D, most people look at it on their phone. It either freezes, it takes too long, people want something different. Also, I believe that if on that 3D, I believe you lose more people walking through your house than you get to come through your house. The goal is to get people in to see the house. And
What's the cost?
the cost of what?
Pictures, video.
So pictures, you guys don't pay anything. You don't have to pay anything for pictures. You guys are covered on that. Video, your video starts at $325 and it goes up per square footage. Anything 3,000 square feet or less is $325. That includes your drone pictures, drone video, and the video of the house. I link it to the MLS. If you want a social media thing, I will brand it with Century 21 and your name goes on it and you can put it on there. When you do post that video, this is very important. When you do post that video to social media, if you guys, there will be, it's not formatted for social media. When you guys are filming, this is important. I would go over this with the reels. Hold your phone vertical. If you're putting something on Instagram, you do not want to film like this. But when I film a house, it goes like that because we want to see the whole thing. So I still suggest that you still post it there. Facebook, it's awesome. But for Instagram, there's a line, a black line at the top and bottom, so it does shrink it a lot. And the views aren't quite as good.
But you don't post that as a reel. it just
Yeah, but
comes
I
as
don't post that as a
video.
reel. I post that as a post. And so anyway, so yeah, that's what I do. I did just start doing reels because I can create a reels. It does take time, but I will create a reels for a job for $75. And so we invoice you separately for all the add-ons, but the pictures, you don't have to, that's covered through Century 21.
You also do Twilights.
All right, I also do Twilights, thank you. And I do digital Twilights. And so anyway, so yes, besides the 3D, there's everything I
And
do.
weird crazy projects?
Oh, correct.
You can ask him about weird crazy
She's got
projects.
some crazy projects that I do, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I do. So,
What is usually like your time frame to go out?
well,
soon can
if
you
you're
do that?
Heather, she wants it like
Yeah.
the next
How many times?
12 hours.
I need it in 12 hours. Fine.
But here's the thing, he always delivers.
I can be like, Adam.
I'm not, I have a photographer that works with me also. And so I feel like that he's very good. Our angles are a little different. Once you get used to something, like Heather doesn't, she's like, no, I want you, I want you, I want you. Austin's like, no, I want you, I want you. But he is very good. He is very good. There could be some jobs that I've shot for you guys that he went out and that you guys wouldn't know. Some people, I just feel like that it's more of, Heather, be honest
I
with this.
just wanna see you.
Be, I feel like that if there was 5 of Heather's homes that I shot and I sent him to 1 or 2 of them and I shot the rest, I'm not sure she would know exactly.
Yeah, he did my last listing.
Yeah, I'm not sure he would know, but if you have a rush, I'm gonna make it work.
To
But-
be honest, I do try to be a little bit more realistic with the scheduling. So I will
She's
say
like,
that.
hold on.
Every
Yeah,
time
it's
Heather
not
calls, she's
simple.
like, you better deal with her.
Okay, but it is nice if you can give them notice to give them notice.
Correct. I do want notice. I do like notice because I mean, yesterday, I think I had 9 or 10 shoots. But that doesn't mean that if you called me with a rush every day, yeah, I'm gonna just be like, all right, you're gonna have to deal with her, because she'll say no. She'll be like, no, but we can get it in this time. But if you have a client that's like, we're in contract, I have to have this listed like in 2 days, I'll make it. Just tell me what's going on. I'll make it work.
It
That's
is helpful if we know the list date.
the list
so
date
then
too
we
is
can,
very important.
Get there when you need us to
Yeah.
go. Otherwise, I'm gonna give you the next available appointment that will work well with our schedule. So that is something. if you
And
guys
I
can
think it's
start
really
letting me know.
helpful. I don't know if you do this with everybody, but I text both of them. When I need a listing
I put them in a
shot.
group text.
Yeah, I do a group text with Molly and Adam. I say the square footage, the city. Sometimes I'll give the address, so I've got it on hand.
the dates that I'm looking for, and just if there's any particulars.
Yeah.
And Molly is amazing at getting back.
How many of you guys use VHT?
Not anymore. I thought everybody did, but I.
I just set her up though.
That's the thing is not, people don't know. People just know VHT. So let me go over a little different. I email you the pictures. You use whatever you want.
You get more than 10.
You
get
get
more than
way
10.
more, yes. I don't picture count. I'm going to shoot what I think it needs. If I'm shooting a 5,000 square foot, 6,000 square foot, I'm going, just like I did with these guys, I'm gonna be like, you know what? This house needs all HDR pictures. I need to charge you guys $25 extra. But it's definitely worth what I did for them because the pictures are night and day. I do shoot HDR in the homes that need it. You're just not getting a ton of them because I can't, I pay for those myself. I send those out to India and I pay for them myself. I don't charge you guys on a regular unless we need most of it HDR, but I communicate that. And so, but if there's a few, I totally do it.
And sometimes he'll just click, you guys, he's our preferred photographer also for Women's Council.
That's correct.
So he's amazing.
Why does the brokerage have with VHT?
So I'll tell you what
He used to
happened.
Literally.
He was working directly with VHT. That's actually why Central 21 still uses, and he's billing Central 21. VHT is just, we have a few representatives. He's one man. I probably don't think he can handle everybody at one time,
I can-
but
You're like, I got it right.
I think it's just a few names that are out there. I've used Adam since, I don't know.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been years.
Yeah.
Didn't you start at Obia?
Yeah, so I actually
That's where I
started
started
with
using
OBO.
you at Obia.
All right, so I'll just tell you the rundown real quick. OBO, way back. I don't know how many people remember OBO.
I'm really young, I don't know why. you know.
I worked for Circle Pictures right now.
Okay, all right, so this is Barry, you'll like this story. So I worked with OBO and I shot so many of Century 21's agents when they switched over to Circle Pics. Whoever did the contract, they came in and they said, we need you to get Adam. They actually gave him two photographers, me and someone else. The other photographer wouldn't come. And so I went over there and then VHT bought them out. So they took their contract. Well, I was giving all of the agents, I was emailing the agents the pictures. Because one, I wanted them to get them quicker and I wanted them, VHT came back to me and said, you can't email the pictures. Then I had agents complain. And then I was giving them more pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're really gonna nickel and dime these guys $5 a picture? I'm like, I'm there. It doesn't take me any time. Then they told me that I couldn't edit my pictures. So my pictures weren't looking the same, but I was still doing it because you guys are my clients. You weren't VHT's clients. You weren't using VHT because of them. So I was still editing my own stuff, sending all the pictures. Well, they came back to me and they actually took everyone from Century 21 away from me. And they came, besides the people that I was their preferred, that
I was gonna say.
yes,
they-
the preferred. And so I found that out and I'm like, I'm leaving, I'm out. And so I had shot for so many people in Century 21. So with that, we've never advertised me through Century 21. And now we're to that point where we're
Just
going to
because of
start.
the conflict, so we got
Correct.
VHT.
I'm so glad that you said that.
Just because of the contract that was already brought
Yes.
over, that's why, but Adam's been like traveling through the entire brokerage pretty much. So
Yeah, and so,
He's my contact, somebody asked me for photographer, I'm like, here you go, and it's within seconds that they have it. I was like, oh, thank you, I'm like, please give him a few days notice.
thank you. All right, anything else?
Silly question,
Yes,
sorry.
there's
You
no
shoot on the
silly question.
weekend, right?
Huh?
Or you shoot on the weekend? or you-
Sometimes.
You know what?
Where's
if
money
you-
you got?
There is times, like if you do need it, like if there's something specific, if you can just tell us in the, up front, we do our best to accommodate that with that other photographer. His schedule is more open to shoot on the weekends.
So,
just prefer not to.
no, I mean, sometimes like.
He likes to
if-
see his wife.
well, So.
He doesn't like outside.
During the summer, this is the honest truth, I work 16 to 18 hours a day. So, but I am not going to turn the business away. I leave town once a month. And the reason I leave town, because I won't say no.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is make sure that each of us have a Gatorade and a sandwich.
And so I won't, that's why I leave town, because I won't say no. And so me and my wife, and sometimes the kids, we leave town once a month and I'm gone from late Friday until Monday. Just because if I'm gone, I can't say no. If I'm driving to St. George or Vegas, I'm not gonna lie, I take my camera because I'll always get calls and be like, hey, where are you? Crazy places like Beaver or something. And I'll still shoot it. I'll shoot it on my way back or I'll shoot it on my way back. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yes, I will if you need it, just communicate with me, but I don't want to do it Saturday I shot 6 homes and I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I do this? But it's
You're a
okay.
good man.
You guys, thank you so much for your time. I do have a quick question and it's okay. I'm raw. Did you guys learn anything?
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Okay.
As soon as we have space, we'll have them come back and you can do the reels too.
Yeah, I promise you guys, that is an awesome thing. And so definitely comes to that.
Thank
Thank
you.
All right, you guys, thank you.
I've never met you in person.
Good luck.